Talking about dinosaurs.
Yes, we were talking about dinosaurs.
We were eating lunch, talking about dinosaurs, and decided that y'all would probably like to enjoy our conversation too. So here we are.
Because who doesn't want to talk about dinosaurs?
Exactly. Dinosaurs are great, man.
Yeah, exactly. With that clear mind and everything, it allows God to talk to you in certain ways that you would never actually understand if you're so busy all the time.
Yeah. Well, and the point of prayer is not only to speak to God. The main point of prayer, I would say, is actually for us to remember that He is God and we are not. Obviously, there's dialogue because it's a relationship. And there are days where we're going to come to the Lord and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Welcome to Forerunner Productions. We are not Chad, but we're going to have a lot of fun anyway.
Yes, we're going to talk about many things.
Many things. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm Bergan.
Yeah. And what do you do for Forerunner?
I'm a content creator. I'm a writer. Solid.
Excited. Yes. I'm Kenzie. I am wife of Kenzie Deneualt and sort of adopted sister of Chad, so I'm just here for the kicks and giggles.
I'm Lillian Merritt. I'm a content creator for Forerunner Productions and a fine art photographer.
My name's Tessa. I do not work for Forerunners. I'm
She's
basically just here, chilling, having fun.
My best friend.
Yes, I am our best friend.
And we're just here to have fun.
Yeah. What were we doing earlier?
Talking about dinosaurs.
Yes, we were talking about dinosaurs.
We were eating lunch, talking about dinosaurs, and decided that y'all would probably like to enjoy our conversation too. So here we are.
Because who doesn't want to talk about dinosaurs?
Exactly. Dinosaurs are great, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to be a little boy to like the dinosaurs.
Very true, very true.
So who's got a question to start us off for that?
Well, do we want to talk more about dinosaurs?
Might as well.
Yeah.
Where were we? We were talking
the
about...
flood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so y'all are here with a bunch of young Christian ladies, and we have some different views than most people when it comes to dinos and how they did or did not disappear. I call them dinos because
I love them.
it's fun.
Why not?
So, yeah, 6,000-year-old to 8,000-year-old Earth. That's our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And dinos were created on day 1, God made light and darkness. Day 2, made the waters. Day 3, land and vegetation. Day 4, sun, moon, and stars. Day 5, water creatures and the birds. So we got the water dinos on day 5. Day 6 is all the animals. So we got the land dinos.
The water diners. Water dinos came first.
Water dinos came first. You heard it from us.
That should be our group name.
Yeah.
The Water Dinos.
I like it.
Everybody's got a water dino.
Mine is pink and yours is blue.
I like it.
Yeah. But then man was created. So man was around same time as the dinos because days of creation, if you look back at the Hebrew word, actually does mean a day, about a 24-hour period. So not over spans of 1,000 years. Big Bang probably did happen, but it was God creating light. So there's that. Anyway, there's this theory that we were talking about where the dinos were killed by this meteor that hit Earth, right? Mm-hmm. Problemo, humans were already on Earth.
Yes,
so we
I would have killed everybody.
Yeah.
We did.
Unless something happened where a human brought all the animals and creation onto a boat.
With the exception of...
Dinos.
So let's be real. It was getting to the point where humans were being stupid, we were sinning, and God said, all right, enough is enough. And at that time, I'm not complaining that he probably also realized, hey, man-eating T-Rexes running around, eating everybody.
Probably not the best.
Maybe a new part of creation.
Yeah. Dinos were probably really thick, too, so...
He probably couldn't fit many on the boat.
That would be very difficult.
Yeah, they're like elephants is where we stop.
Nothing bigger.
Yeah.
High limit there. Yeah. But so the flood is the only other logical choice for how the dinos disappeared. Because obviously they did. There's really no record of the dinos past Noah. I know that in the way that the books are written in the Bible, Job technically comes like halfway through the Old Testament, but Job itself, we're actually not sure when he was alive. We think it was pre-Abraham. So that makes a little bit more sense why he refers to Leviathan and other, sort of big beasties that could be dinos.
The dinos.
Because there's no really any like timeline on that or who wrote it or anything.
Yeah, Job
so
is just
like,
kind of there.
yeah.
We love Job. We love him.
Job. It's a good book. It is just kind of there. But yeah, so that leaves the flood and all the craziness that came from that, Pangea suddenly becoming 7 different continents because of the geysers that...
we were talking about that, how the water
geysers.
was only coming down in the form of rain, but also coming up through the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Imagine Old Faithful.
Times.
That's
world destruction.
Exactly. World destruction. And I think we were joking about being a little farmer or person doing probably less than good things. And all of a sudden, just seeing this massive wall of water.
Somebody who didn't live by the ocean,
Exactly.
Somebody who's landlocked and is like, I just want to plant my crops, man. Jeez. like this rain. Oh, shoot.
Well, I think that the Bible says, and I should have brought mine with me. I think the Bible says that Noah was the only one found righteous amongst his people. So, you might have been a farmer, but you probably had some shady morals at that point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Noah and his family were like the only ones found righteous, hence why God saved them and used them to carry on the legacy of mankind. So we can all
and here we are.
Not only can we all trace our ancestry to Adam and Eve, we can also at some point all trace our ancestry to Noah.
Yes.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes. That's great. Yes. So the dinos.
Dinos, man.
Did they have feathers?
Or
Did they have fur?
Or hair? That's the real question.
That's the real
Wait,
question.
you brought that up, Bergan?
I did.
Oh, that was yeah. Okay, I'm gonna remember.
But she brought up how like the ones that fly,
Flew.
like how flew.
Well, they're dead.
Flaps.
Flound around. How they like probably had feathers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
I would think.
regular
That makes
birds
sense.
nowadays have feathers. I mean, and then the ones that don't fly really.
Yeah.
Like penguins.
Penguins don't have feathers, but they can't really get.
Either
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't have feathers. Maybe they had leathery wings. We'll never really know.
That's true.
Nope.
But how would they keep warm? That's
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Are
because
they
like
only
the
on, like,
winds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, are they only on like one part of the planet, like one part of the climate, like in
Oh
the
yeah,
desert?
kind of near like
Or
really
they're
warm
just
weather.
different types. So like the
Different sizes.
deserty ones are like the deserty animals we have now, and then
dinosaur with
Yeah.
fur.
They could have just been built different.
Okay.
I think talking about wild boars, you know how they got all the bristles all over them?
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
that's more what it was like for some of the dinos. And
maybe some of them were like fuzzy and like fur.
They could have had some mohawks back then too.
That's true.
And like, what were their fur patterns or feather patterns?
Did they have patterns, or were they just plain, kind of like a chocolate lab?
Or
Yeah,
were they
like,
like spotted or striped
Or did they have like certain type of colors, like were some green or orange or
And
red?
how can we know?
Exactly?
We just
yeah.
have the fossil, or like
Well,
the
yeah, we only have the
Yeah,
bone
we
structure
can't
of
tell
them
if there's-
and how big they were too.
Another
Yeah.
controversial thing. Bones. The flood helps prove why we get these bones of these crazy little fish that have been dead for thousands of years in the most random places like the middle of the mountains. People are
Right.
like, how the
right.
exactly the flood would have allowed all of the sediment and the dead fish and all the other dead animals to rise.
That makes a lot of
and
sense.
And up to the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
That
Which
makes
is that
way
I
sense.
think in the Himalayas were underwater. If they
So.
hadn't been made yet. They might have been made as a result of the flood and everything spreading apart. So, but that's
They would have ended
That's
up in
a
weird
good-
places.
Yeah.
very good point.
Yeah, it wouldn't have just been near the sea or anything.
Exactly.
That's why most of people actually found them like near the desert area and whatnot, where like we're just like, well, there's no water here.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
also heard the argument that that's how like the Grand Canyon was made, and that's how a lot of
makes
canyons,
sense.
you know.
Oh
Yeah, that would make
I've
sense.
heard that as an argument.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's erosion involved too,
Yeah.
but the main catalyst being something like the flood, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
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 Maybe that's where one of the geysers were.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that could have.
Quite possibly.
Look at some great ideas.
San Andreas Fault, man. Probably was one just along coast California too.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, but that also, for our evolution friends out there that say, well, it looks like these fish have been there for billions of years, as sediment deposit that quickly with that much pressure over that short amount of time would allow them to look like the fishies have been there for millennia. Personally, we're all around the same opinion that there's been here for 68,000 years, but I can see where you might think that because, again, the Lord in his wisdom does allow things to happen, and that makes them look older than they are. It happens.
That also puts
it.
into the question of whenever the flood happened. I mean, you know, volcanoes, they have lava in them.
Exactly.
So how would that go about of like having water in the volcanoes? And how...
Well, that can help create steam in the hot water that probably was part of the geyser that just went kaplooey and everything went...
I mean, a lot of volcanoes...
I love your words.
Creative, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of volcanoes are underwater, though. You know?
Exactly.
That's how islands are formed, right? The lava bubbles out slowly over time. Like, that's how the Hawaiian Islands, I think, were formed, if I'm remembering my 5th grade geography lesson correctly.
I think you are correct on
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
But it just takes a while, you know, a couple thousand years of deposits of that and growing and the lava just bubbling up and hardening, and all of a sudden, you got birds dropping seeds and dirt, and over a while, you got an island.
There's land.
Hawaii. Get some coconuts.
Yes.
Aloha. You were close, Bergan. You were close.
So fun. Yes, the flood explains a lot of things.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
And it makes like really complete sense, kind of in my mind. You know, of like, of course, just like certain things, like you said, the fish in different areas, like, well, duh.
The majority of cultures do have flood stories too, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
That's not just a Christianity thing.
No.
Yeah, well, even just like, you know, like think about a tsunami and everything. The tsunami like comes on the island or like wherever it's at, and then it washes a bunch of stuff like hundreds of miles away, and then it, whenever it's coming back towards the water, then it's going into different areas, and you're gonna find so many different things. You're just like, this was not in my house before. Like,
Who put that there? Like, you'd be like, well, I mean, I have it now, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it changes things. Also, the split of Pangea too explains how dinos from the edge of... Oh crap, how exactly did it all fit together? Like the Chilean side of South America aligned with part of like the North America, Mexico part, and there's dinos from, from like that area that miraculously made it over to our side as well. And it's like, that would make sense that they were all on Pangea together. And then
the
split.
flood.
Yeah.
it would make sense because, I mean, even if like God, he was just like, oh, well, let's start a new like time, he would split all of the to make like maybe new languages and like just start
Keep
different
people apart.
Exactly. You'd be
Just
like, yeah, I
keep
don't want
people
these people
apart.
to be together.
Like, let's spread them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Ouch. That says something about the pride of man even back then, right?
Yeah. But that also brings in the question of how did different animals come on different continents, and like because some
after
like
the flood.
exactly
Yeah.
because
That
like
is true.
giraffes
All
are
in that
mostly in
era.
Africa,
Yeah.
and we don't have any giraffes in like Colorado or anything. Like
It'd be cool, but
it would, but I mean we don't have them over here. So.
But yeah, maybe, you know, again, none of us here are historians.
We're definitely not.
This is not disclaimer.
Don't base your thoughts on our opinion. We're just putting things
Go
out
read
there.
the Bible, do a little bit of history yourself to verify this, but this is just a conglomeration of our knowledge based off the Bible and previous classes and education that we've got. Perhaps Pangea did not, in fact, go all over the world really fast. It's possible it took a while for the pieces of land to actually drift and settle.
Yeah, I mean, which would make sense.
canyons were already there,
Exactly.
but over time they just kept cracking.
But if it started closer together after the flood, then it's quite possible that giraffes, zebras, etc. could have made their way from Mount Ararat all the way down to what is now Africa, because it wasn't that far down at the time. It was, well, and even then, technically, Egypt, there's some connection there that would have allowed them to come down. But thinking like America and Australia and stuff like that. It makes sense that maybe everything was a little bit closer together after the flood, and then
There were
after
still
time, it
connections.
drifted apart.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also going back to what Bergan said about the Grand Canyon, like the Grand Canyon like could have been like a really like huge kind of thing underwater as well at the time.
Yeah,
And then after the flood, they were just like, oh, let's bring it up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
New land, yay!
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Random question time.
Yeah.
Yes, Bergan, you go.
Alrighty, I got the first one.
You got it.
Oh, I missed that. I have this snack. This
Ooh,
is
okay. If you had $1 million to spare, what would you do with it?
To spare?
To spare.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have more than $1 million already.
pay off
Is
my
that-
student loans,
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a
yeah,
good
that's
one.
smart.
That's a good one.
and then I'd buy a house.
Oh,
Mm.
What about you, Tessa?
I would probably pay for my college.
There you go.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would cover it, but I'm just kidding.
You guys are going to the state university. How much are you paying?
College is good.
She got a scholarship though, so
Ooh, fancy.
yeah, she's smart.
Super smart.
What about you?
Probably buy a house and then like travel, which is kind of like
yeah.
buy a house and then travel. Maybe travel and then
Maybe
buy a house.
multiple houses.
There
There
we
you
go.
go. And then
Maybe
some
some
different locations.
condos everywhere.
Yeah,
Nice.
Or maybe save up for some dance events.
Oh. I mean, you wouldn't have to save at that point.
You really wouldn't.
I mean,
You'd
you
be
could
like,
maybe, use half of it to go to dance events over the next 20 years and
Oh, yeah,
put some
definitely.
in like a fund that, what's it called? Mutual. Oh my gosh, Dave Ramsey, come to me. You guys should do Dave Ramsey's class, by the way, on financial planning and financial peace. It's great. Mutual funds.
that's what I was
You-
gonna say, but then I was just like,
I was like,
it is.
Yeah, funds is simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Simple, not sinful.
No.
yeah, Bergan, mutual
simple.
funds is something that you should not do, Bergan.
Money is not inherently evil. It's what you do with the money that is potentially evil.
Exactly.
Yes. King David, very rich man.
Very
Solomon, even richer. Although I have questions about his kingship. Anyway.
Me too.
Okay. Yes. So we'd all buy something or pay off something and
And then give it away.
Yes.
Yeah, I would invest it and probably give it. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably keep some of it.
Put
but,
some in
like,
stocks.
Yeah, if I knew how to do stocks.
Yeah.
Like I
very true.
have a mutual fund thing, but I'm like I don't know how to use it. It just kind of.
Well, the nice thing about mutual funds
Yeah,
is you don't
it's-
necessarily have to do a whole lot with
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
like, and it's
Yeah,
less
just put it in
risky.
there.
it.
But
Exactly.
That's why I did it. Cause I'm like I am not a risk taker,
Yeah.
so I really don't.
You really
wanna-
just have to like wait it out and like
Exactly.
see like let it grow over time.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yes.
Patience is a virtue, especially in mutual funds.
Yes.
Okay.
Lessons with
Need a jingle.
Oh boy. Okay, my turn. I'm gonna ask a random question. Oh, this is a good one. What is your favorite book? Right now.
Wait, no.
Right now, I'm talking to my little cousins. What is your favorite book right now, and why? Tessa.
Oh, well, the book. Oh, I just actually finished a book like a couple weeks ago, and it was called The Studies of the Sermon on the Mount.
Ooh.
And it literally dives deep into like everything about like 10 Commandments and like how like what it actually means. And basically also goes through, of course, the 10 Commandments and then like the book of Matthew, I want to say, and just kind of breaks down everything. And I do want to say though, because like, well, I actually got the book from my work because someone left it, and then I did like wait on it for like 2 weeks seeing if they would come back, and they didn't, so I was like, well, it's mine now.
Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah, exactly.
Sermon on the Mount,
I was just
right?
like, hey, it's Jesus or God. So I was like, I gotta do it. But it's really interesting. But I did realize that I'm pretty sure it was actually more directed towards males, just because it was talking more about like, it was having more pronouns as like he or like him or something. But I was just like, well, it still works in my case.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Not that I am a man, but
No.
I think those are good though that you see like that perspective. that I mean I'm reading
Yeah,
a book that's more towards men, but I think it's
Yeah.
really
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, which one are you reading?
Wild at Heart.
Oh my god!
Are you reading it?
I have it in my bag.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I was reading it on the plane. That's so funny. Okay. I had a feeling that because I know Brianna was talking about that. So,
blessed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're
it
good.
makes sense if it was geared a little bit more towards men, if perhaps it's a book that dives into the Sermon on the Mount, so if you were a pastor, you can write a better sermon on it. That's a hot topic. Women pastors, we may or may not cover that at some point. We'll see.
Pew.
But, I mean, it's good to know what it is you're teaching about.
All right, yeah. Who's next about the book?
My favorite's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. That's a really good one. Yeah. I've read it like 5 times. Fun story. Chad, when you guys were in Yorktown at the antique bookstore, there was a 2nd edition copy of Jane Eyre that he took a picture, $300. I almost bought it. I almost told him to like go back and buy it because he sent me a picture.
I mean, $300 for a 2nd edition. That's not bad.
It's going to get more expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They had some really, really nice stuff.
What was the name of the bookstore? Do you remember?
It was something, I know it was like books and antique kind of place, but it was literally just like a bookstore. And like, I don't even think it actually had a specific name, did it? Or else I just really didn't notice. I want to say it just said bookstore on the front.
That's enough.
Yeah.
It kind of had a lot of things that had coins and
It
postcards.
did. Yeah, it had a huge like Bible thing. And it was like 50 pounds, I swear. And it was like $95. And we were just like looking through it. I was just like, I'm so tempted.
Yeah, it was like on a really.
It was. It was like, I want to say like
really
this
pretty,
big
though.
and then this big. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But they also had some really cool stuff there. I got some cool postcard letters. Ooh. And most of them didn't have like writings on them, but I found some that actually were in different languages. And I took those that had the letters because all that stuff. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
That's cool. Antiques, the best.
Oh yeah,
best thing.
Antiquing is a good thing to do. Yes.
How about you? What about you?
Oh, I'm the one that asked the question.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Probably Secret Life of Bees by Sizemore Kid.
Ooh,
yeah.
What's that one about?
It's about South Carolina in like the 1960s. It's it's so good. It's basically about like a coming of age book. There's this younger girl, her mother died, and she finds herself living with these like 3 black women, but it's
so good. They have a movie about it as well.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh my gosh, it's just one of those things. I was like, what is Secret Life of Bees? Like it sounded like some weird, cooking book or something, but I don't know why. But I read it and I was like, I just fell in love with the character. I really related to the main character and I fell in love with the storyline. So that's probably my
it's definitely like a family kind of thing. Like no matter where you're from, like you can build your family like where you're at.
Well, just that she had to like build her identity. Like her dad was abusive and she lost her mom and she was so lost and she found herself through like.
It's a really interesting story.
So
does it have anything to do with bees?
Yes. Okay.
Sorry, that's the real question.
No, you're good. A lot of symbolism to bees and how they live and I don't know I can't remember everything, but I do remember like she had a really connection with bees and the ladies that she was living with, they were all sisters and they had they made their own honey and that's how they made their living. She worked there, so that's where the
cool.
bees come in. But it was very cool. What about you?
You're next.
Shoot. There's so many.
That's true. There is. Very true.
What about the most like recent one that you really like?
Ooh.
Last book you read.
Okay. It's
we can do that one next.
Fictional book. It's called Rhythms of Rest and Renewal. It's by Rebecca Lyons, and it just talks about how to basically remove things from your. She's a Christian author, which is really cool to get the perspective. But talking about how overscheduling and overcommitting and the food you eat and the time you go to bed and the time you spend with your family, and if you're not careful to protect certain things, it creates more stress and more anxiety and more depression. And as we know, our society is currently very riddled with depression and anxiety.
Like 100%.
Yeah. And I know that we probably all at some point have been like, yeah, this is a season of anxiety, or maybe this is a season
last
of
week.
depression.
Last night.
Yesterday.
2 minutes ago.
Yeah. Rhythms of Rest and Renewal. Yeah. And she has a journal that you can buy with it.
Okay.
Thank you, Jenna Mergadichin, my best friend for forever, for getting me that journal. It's like how you can figure out, okay, this is something that the Lord is speaking to me today. This is something that I feel like he's bringing into my life today to focus on. I have it at home. You guys can take a picture of it.
Thank you.
But that's been really helpful for me to reevaluate, like, okay, how much screen time am I spending? You know, how much time am I on my phone before I go to bed? Is that affecting my sleep patterns? Which it did, totally. I've stopped looking at my phone for like an hour before I go to bed now. It makes a world of difference. Like what you're eating, and if you're eating too much sugar, if you're eating not enough of like carbs and stuff like that. Because, you know, we all want to be healthy and fit and whatnot, but there's the healthy side of, yes, carbs are good for you. Do eat those, because you do need a little bit of body fat. Otherwise, you're going to waste away. So that's been really good. And, like, finding things that are restful, finding things that you can do to be creative, finding things that you can do to connect. And then there's one other as well that I'm forgetting at the moment. But
to, like, grow?
Yes,
Okay.
something like
kind of
that.
just going out of your comfort zone.
Challenge you.
Exactly, making sure you have things in your life that you can do to be creative and to use your God-given gifts and talents to create.
Kind of left brain, right brain kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, and not necessarily left brain, right brain, but like, have you taken a Sabbath? Have you? Yeah, Sabbath is holy. Y'all. Sabbath is holy. Coming from a girl who like did not Sabbath until her senior year of college, it's holy. The God of the universe created the Sabbath. He rested to show us that we needed rest. A really cool perspective here that one of my friends that I grew up with at Hume told me. She's like, guys, we worship when we sleep. And I was like, you want to explain that to me? She goes, well, think of it this way. God created us to not to be able to go for 24 hours repeatedly without facing serious like bodily consequences. You get tired, you get sloppy, like you bump into things, you get dehydrated, all this crazy stuff. She's like, when you go and you put your head on your pillow at night, you are admitting you are human and you are resting the way that God created you to rest, for go that is worship. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I heard a thing about, it was like of course a podcast and everything, and they were talking about how sleeping is actually like basically worshiping in a sense of like you're actually resting and doing what God created you to do.
Yeah.
But there are also controversial topics about the Sabbath day just a little bit in the Bible, because of course in the beginning God did rest. Like literally in Genesis, it was like God rested on the seventh day.
Day 7. He rested and declared it holy.
Exactly. And then also whenever Jesus was here and everything,
They had taken it to such an extreme.
Yeah, the Jewish leaders took it to such an extreme where you couldn't even like open your own door because that was considered working, to where Jesus, like, he healed a man on the Sabbath day and they were pissed. They were like, how dare he even like do anything on the Sabbath day? And it's not to be taken to that such extreme.
Yeah, there is a balance of understanding, I'm gonna go make myself lunch. And in Jewish culture today, like, Sabbath is still a really big thing. And I would love to actually be in Israel and experience a Sabbath day, because everything is set aside. It's just a day to relax with your family and your friends.
Yeah.
But Sabbath in our culture is not a thing.
It isn't.
No. And I'm sorry.
It's always working.
Are Sundays restful when you get up at the crack of dawn to go to church and take your kids? No.
It's like
We
church
need
and then
church. Yeah, we
Yeah.
need church. We need the fellowship. We need the body, but that's not restful. PK speaking here. You need a day aside from that to rest and to spend time with your family and to renew, because otherwise you're going to just go until you hit a wall.
Yeah.
And then you
Burn
get
out.
sick, you burn out.
And even like if it is like church and whatnot, like there's 10 a.m. services that you can go to, and then you can go to lunch with your church friends.
Exactly.
And
Building
literally
that
like even like, because I've done this before, like go to church for like there's different services of course at different times, and then I go and then we literally have lunch from like 11:30 whenever it stops to a good like 3 p.m. And we're just hanging out, having fun, good conversation and everything. And then some people go home, or some people like still hang out with each other. I'm just like, see, that's like chill and relaxing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The
It's
fellowship is
nice.
necessary. Yeah. And that's a good way to practice rest too, of like, oh, let's make sure we're not at church all day long, or if we are, let's make sure we're taking time out of our day to rest and reflect and not just be go, go, go. We got to set this up. We got to do this for church. We got to here. We got to drop the kids off. Making sure that you're finding that rest so you can slow down and reevaluate what's actually important.
Exactly.
So, rest is important. Rest
it really
is holy.
is.
Rest is holy.
It also makes you
Go take a nap.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened after? I think it was. Lord Jesus, forgive me if I get the prophet wrong. Ezekiel, I think, that ran away from Jezebel and what's his face. When he got to where he was going, you know what the Lord told him to do? Take a nap and eat some food. And then
You'll feel better in the morning.
Sometimes
That's what you gotta do.
you need a nap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because also God gave him clarity after that, too. And
Well, when your mind is full of all these different things that are going on and you're stressed, you're depressed,
just keeps on
you're
going and
anxious,
going and
it builds
going.
and it builds and it builds. And if you don't take time to put that down and, be, whether you're a Christian or not, if you are full of depression and anxiety, you still need to rest. Even if you don't necessarily have the perspective that rest is holy, you still need to rest. You still need to give your body time to slow down. You still need to maybe talk with somebody about everything that's going on in your mind, because if you can't logically think through it and you keep pushing it down, it will build and it will build and it will build until you're like a little volcano.
Yeah, well, because like
And
even,
it splits the world apart.
Maybe not the world,
Pangea
but
once
the
over.
world.
Or someone else's role.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There can be collateral damage
definitely.
if you don't take care of yourself. So,
Well, because like even if it is like, I mean, if you don't want to take like that whole day, you can take like a couple hours. Maybe like do your hair, like do your
on
nails,
makeup.
do your makeup, maybe
guys,
take a bath.
maybe if you need to, go to the gym,
Yeah.
for a walk, go for a run.
Yeah,
Exercise.
just do
Exercise.
something.
But even for like the people that work out, they like take days of rest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
You
because
Yeah.
it benefits and helps the muscles.
Yeah, it kind of
build.
makes like your days that you do work so much better, and then that day off you're just like, oh my goodness, but then you're ready for this next week.
Yeah.
Like it prepares you so much,
Yeah.
even if it
really
is a
does.
couple hours in a day or
And it clears
something.
your mind. Yeah, all of a sudden you got more perspective on things.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different kinds of rest. Like I'm taking a social media sabbatical
Oh, yes.
and like have deleted social media, and this is like the 3rd month.
It feels
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's
I love
just
that.
amazing, you know?
Yeah.
And there's different kinds of rest and taking breaks from things.
Absolutely. Yeah, so figuring out what rest you need in the season of life you're in. Rest may look different from one season than it does to the next. If you're a mom with 3 kids, rest is probably you sneaking off to the bedroom for a little bit, just for like an hour, maybe while the kids are napping, to have some quiet time to yourself.
Or even whenever they, or whenever they go to camp in the summer,
Exactly.
like you're just like,
Summer
oh my goodness.
camp is great. Summer camp changes lives. Coming from somebody that lived at one for 8 years, send your kids to camp. It's good for them. They will survive without you for a week, I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to summer camp, actually a Christian summer camp for a good 7 years each summer. And all of the weeks were so amazing because they had like different things for each like age you were. And then whenever you got to like the higher age, they actually went on a backpacking trip.
Oh,
that's
no
cool.
way.
That
Where at?
it was up in Colorado in Estes.
That would have been a gorgeous hiking.
Oh, 100%. It was so nice, and just it allowed you to like also be in contact with like the nature, God, friends, and of course, like whenever you go to summer camp, you know no one there whenever you go there. But then after that week, you know a good like 5 or 6 people. You might not keep in contact with them, but at the time, it must have been like really nice to have those people.
And those connections, and especially, I mean, I'm guessing you didn't have like your phone or a lot of
Yeah,
distractions,
you didn't have your phone, you didn't have anything. You basically just had the people around you, your Bible, and your counselors, which would help you with everything. You know,
Yeah.
it was
Well,
nice.
And wilderness is mentioned in the Bible over 200 times. People would go to the wilderness. Jesus was driven to the wilderness by
Oh,
the Spirit
yes.
for his time of fasting before he was tempted by Satan. Like there is a reason that nature is as beautiful as it is. It is because it points us back to Christ. And for you to get the opportunity to go and to hike and, you know, sit in just the silence of the woods or go sit on the beach at the ocean and watch the waves roll, there's a reminder of your humanity in that. And there's a good reason for it. But yeah, so we need that. We need that reminder. So kids going to camp is great.
Yeah.
when the kids are away at camp, having a little retreat for your, if your parents, you and your hubby, all of a sudden you got a week to yourself without the kids around, that's exciting. You can also have adult conversations with people because the kids are out of the house, so.
Yeah, there's so many things that you could do, like, on your rest days, like, away from either people or just, like, work or just something that like is stressing you out or is a little bit over time, because I mean everything's good in moderation. Yeah, if you have so much of it, it could take over your life, and it could basically become an idol. And that is not what we want. Like social media or you know, job. Certain people, jobs. Absolutely. Even school too, like, yes, school is very important to get like degrees and everything, but like if you're doing it 24/7, that is no help towards your brain or your future, like,
or your state of mind.
Exactly.
I wouldn't want.
Yeah.
Actually, that brings up a good question. What are some ways you guys practice rest? Do you practice rest? Because my answer to that would have been no for a long time.
It's hard in this day and age because people like the world just like idolizes people who don't rest and like just go, accomplish. It's like they're like, oh, what a person! Like they're amazing. They're doing all this stuff.
They're doing so much stuff.
They're about ready to tear their hair out. Oh yeah, they haven't slept in a week.
It's like celebrities. Like they're just like, oh my goodness, they produced 3 songs within this 1 week, and it'd be like, wow, great songs, but are they actually doing okay? Probably not.
Mental health.
Yeah.
Like the house of mental health.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, for me and everything, I do rest, and I made that an actual thing, like, I want to say, like, sometime this year, of course, trying to, like, figure things out and whatnot, and actually have that time, because I actually never really thought about, like, Sabbath day at all, just because I'm just like, oh, well, we have these days and these certain things on these days, so, like, well, I don't really have time for that. But then now I'm just like, well, like for now, right now, I'm just like, I tell my work, I was like, I'm not working Sundays. I'm not doing it. And if you put me on the schedule, well, that sucks for you because you're not going to have a person there, because I was just like, I'm going to church that day and I'm going to spend time with people that I like being around. So like, please do not schedule me like at all. And I always try to, like, of course, I always try to have self-care days of maybe doing a face mask or just chilling out, listen to music, you know, do a little dancey dance. Just doing certain things that I like, and that also, like, I mean, if someone's with me and whatnot, and, like, I could always do self-care with them. Like Bergan. But because she always needs some rest a little bit. She works a lot.
Yeah, there was a point in time I was not getting sleep. Because I was working as a CNA night shift. And then going to school after that. Yeah, that was
she was what, you were doing night shifts, and then like your night shifts ended at what, like 6
a.m.
And then she went to school at
9. So I had 2 hours to sleep.
I'm replaying this scene from Princess and the Frog in my mind, where she comes home from work, drops to sleep for like 2 seconds, and then is up again for
her alarm goes off, and we're like, well.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's still stuff. That's why this is basically my bird coming here. So but I really try to take my dog on a walk. I think that's like, you know, just being in nature. And obviously I live in Colorado, so there's a lot of trails and things. If I don't want to do like something physical, I like to turn off my phone. I think that's a really big thing. It's such a distraction, and then of course like someone texts me and I feel like I have to text them back, and then this happens and you're like, oh my gosh. So you try to turn that off, and like you said, you know, self-care, or just listen to music. Or
listening to music really helps for me. Like it just lets me get out, like depending on like what type of music. It's normally Christian music, of course, and I found some really good Christmas music over the past like year. And I'm all about it.
Christmas or Christian?
Christian.
Oh, I heard Christmas, and I was like, yes, that's
Christmas
also
year-round, baby.
Oh, boy. You're that person.
Oh, my gosh. No, not at all.
That's for me, but it's like...
Yeah, that is.
It's fine.
She's playing Jingle Bell Rock in July.
Christmas in July, that one's fine. It would be more of like May or June that I would be concerned.
Yeah, there's like a period in July where it's just like we gotta watch like a couple Christmas movies and then move on.
It's fine.
Well, it's always probably The Grinch.
White Christmas for us.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like watching It's a Wonderful Life.
I don't like that Christmas movie.
Oh.
Unpopular opinion.
And why do you not like this movie?
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I never did. I think it freaked me out when I was young. And the way he treats his family is just awful. But
Oh, also, what's the one with the train? The
Polar Express.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one. That
I
was
haven't
really
seen
good.
that in it
the
forever.
hot chocolate scene. I want to taste that hot chocolate off of that movie.
Their eyes look so dead, though.
So true.
Kudos to that kind of animation for when it was made, though. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, that was
That
back
was
when we
like
were
cutting
much-
edge.
Yeah. So,
I was like a baby.
yeah.
Wait, what was the question?
Rest.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I like to-
talking about music and
Yeah.
Music, yeah.
listening to worship music.
Christmas and then
Going out in nature. We have 11 acres, so I'll hike and we have an overlook and stuff like that. And so just going out
you're
there.
a photographer and
I
everything.
am.
So like, is your rest kind of like going out and taking photos sometimes?
Yeah, all the times. Sometimes more so the editing process because it's kind of mindless to a lot of it. So I can just kind of just turn off my brain and just like rest in what I'm doing. I'm still working technically, but it's so kind of mindless
Yeah,
that it's
because
just
you like
rest.
it enough.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you're just like, well, you know.
Yeah, and it's creative and you get to like play with things and have fun. So I don't feel like it's hard work. It's still resting.
That's
Well, and you get to find a way to turn off your brain too. I think that's kind of a key element to rest sometimes because we have a hard time turning off our brains as
Oh
females.
yeah, definitely.
It's so
Overthinking.
hard. Yes. Yes.
We need to clip that.
It's like that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where they all start
Oh, yeah,
laughing at
right.
each other and they're really good at it. They put them down and that's like, ow. That was my kneecap. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah.
But also in that same way, I think rest can sometimes be like getting to a place where you can think clearly.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
sometimes you're so busy, you can't like, how am I actually doing? And so like taking the time to like journal, read, just like clear your mind so you can actually think clearly
Yeah,
is
also-
another important thing.
Yeah, and with that clear mind and everything, it allows God to talk to you in certain ways that you would never actually like understand if you're so busy all the time.
Yeah.
And like even just like talking to God, like turning off your phone, like going into a room like with no one in it and just like having a conversation with God like can clear up so many things, can relieve so many stresses, like and just like allow your brain to like just be relaxed,
Yeah.
which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
And that's what also Jesus did all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I want to say,
If Jesus, the Son of God, had to go and get quiet,
yeah,
I'm just saying.
We oughta be. I know more than you want.
yeah. Because I want to say there was this time where I want to say it was, if I'm getting this correctly, don't quote me on it. It was the week that he went into Jerusalem and everything, and he did a bunch of miracles and he did a bunch of sermons and everything. And then they went to bed super late, and it was like kind of basically like a day of what Jesus would do. And then Jesus got up before everyone else did, like before the crack of dawn, and went somewhere quiet and talked to God to get clarity and just to spend time with him. And like that was the first thing he did every day, or I don't want to say every day, but like he did that a lot, and like that's really, really cool.
Because we hear God when we rest.
Yeah.
Well, and the point of prayer is not only to speak to God. The main point of prayer, I would say, is actually for us to remember that He is God and we are not. Obviously, there's dialogue because it's a relationship. And there are days where we're going to come to the Lord and be like, blah, 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 blah. Like, this happened today, and I had to deal with this Jesus today. And I'm like,
She talked to me. What the heck?
let me tell you.
Let me spill the tea, Lord. This is crazy. You would not believe what happened, even though you already know what is happening.
Before it would happen, in fact.
Let me tell you my perspective.
Exactly. There's days where we need those moments, and actually, next question should be: is it okay to get angry at the Lord? And we'll get to that in a moment. But we also need to be able to walk ourselves off that cliff and go, "Okay, I'm done. Your turn."
Yeah.
I'm done venting.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and also in the moments too where the Holy Spirit checks us, and we're in the middle of a rant, He goes,
Yeah.
I got something to say, and you need to shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Take that 2x4, whack. Be like, stop talking.
Yeah, and there's also this thing that I was talking to Bergan about yesterday or something, and like, you know, sometimes some people can't really tell whether it's God talking to you or whatnot, because they're just like, shoot, like they hear that voice inside their head and they're just like, is it really? I don't know, and then go do their own thing anyway still. But there was 3 questions and everything. It was just like, would God say this? Would yourself say this? Or would the devil say this? And go through those 3 things and be like, well, if the devil wouldn't say it and I wouldn't say it, has to be God. But if God wouldn't say it and myself and the devil or like something else like would say it, well, then that's probably not the best way to go out.
Sometimes
It is.
I think I heard that. I think I'll go with that. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Or it could like be your like gut, which like you can't really trust yourself on like certain things, like because it doesn't. It says don't trust your own understanding.
Yeah.
And to trust on God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the heart is deceptive above all things.
Definitely.
There's such a culture that we are inundated with. I love Disney movies. I will forever love Disney movies. But all this follow your heart.
Oh,
crap.
yeah. No.
Guys. Your heart is deceptive. Don't listen to it. It doesn't know what's good for you.
Well, also because like the devil can put that into a different perspective and a way of temptation and deceive it and just twist it into what you want and what your heart's desires want.
Yeah, exactly.
And your desires are not all what God's desires are for you.
His ways are not our ways.
Definitely not.
Yeah, which actually that segues into, is it okay to be angry at God because his ways are not our ways? So he does things sometimes, and I don't know about y'all, but there's been moments where I'm like, seriously? Seriously? This is what we're doing right now. I can't really say no, but, I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. But I'm not, I'm frustrated with you right now.
Yeah.
Have you guys had those moments?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's had those moments in a point of life where they're just like, really? Are you serious right now?
Well, I think it's more like we just see this, like, our perception is so small. We just see this, like, little thing. And it takes us years or even, you know, maybe we don't even see it, but we don't see the, you know.
Yeah, don't even see it until years later.
And then he has this bigger picture, like, what's going to happen, you know. Yeah. You have no idea, like, why is this situation happening to me? And then afterwards you're like,
well, because like even it goes to like even just the simplicity of waking up late and then your car not starting and then you being late to work and whatnot, like, and then you're just like, shoot, why God, why did my car not start? Like, are you serious? But God could have been protecting you from like an accident on the road,
or maybe you
met someone in the process. Like, there's always a specific reason of why either something that you did not want to happen like actually happens, and then you don't even like see it, but God is just like, no, this is what I need for my plans, so like it's gonna happen whether you like it or not, you know. You're gonna wake up late tomorrow and like it's seriously.
Well, let's take that and put it on a more grandiose scale. I'll use my family as an example. My parents prayed for 5 years to have kids after they got married. They were having a really hard time getting pregnant just because of some medicine my mom took. Figured it out. Got pregnant with me and my twin brother after 5 years. Logan and I were born. Everything was going well. 4 months later, my parents walk in and find Logan blue in there, not breathing. And we lived an hour and a half away from the hospital. So when we met up with the EMTs, they pronounced him dead on arrival. How can a merciful God allow a tiny baby who has been prayed for 5 years to die?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Does that make him a non-merciful God, which would then make him nothing that he says he is, which would then negate all of our reasons to follow him?
Well, that also goes with Job's perspective of, and of course Job's friends of, is God just? And I don't want to get this wrong or whatnot, or it says, I don't want to, it's like God is just, but the things that God does can, like, it's not all equal towards everyone, just because everyone's different and everyone's like
oh dear, like number 2.
Okay, we got one more. When that one goes off, it's out.
How do you do that?
There's batteries.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Resume. Joe?
How, like, all of us go through different, like, life stories. So, I mean, there's no way that God could put everything the same for everyone.
He's just not fair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And our culture is all about fairness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with equality,
Yes.
with
It's like
women,
nothing's
race,
fair.
all this stuff.
Life is not fair. Now, that does not mean we should make it harder for other people.
Yeah.
No, but
life in itself is not fair, and there's nothing that we can do about that. It's just, it's part of the fall.
Yeah, like you can't really control anything like in the world except your like
How you react.
yeah, how you react to it. And that's like basically the only thing that you can control, and that's from my perspective, I have learned how to react better with the Holy Spirit.
Exactly.
Way better than anything else.
Amen.
Yes.
Yes.
So I mean, I feel like you guys could probably relate as well, like
yeah.
cuz I mean before, like when I was younger, oh gosh.
Yeah.
That was a trip.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just in conclusion of that, do you guys have any other thoughts on, like, how is that indicative of a merciful God?
Yeah.
I want to ask, like, how did that impact your family? Like, did was it, I mean, obviously it probably was.
Yeah, so that's something that I've really carried most of my life.
Yeah, that's especially the twin.
Yeah, and he was the older one too. So like when I was little, there was like this mentality of, if he was still here, I want to be the oldest child and like this, and this. Yeah. And obviously when you're a young child, figuring out how to process that is hard. And it's not like my parents never talked about Logan. We had pictures of him all over the house. Like we take December 1st, the day that he passed away, off. Like I take that day off work and I just sit and I watch a video that we have of us when we were babies and stuff like that. But I think for most of my life, until I hit college, it felt like something was missing. And it was probably just because I hadn't necessarily like figured out how to deal with my grief. Like, I don't know if I'd ever actually grieved my brother, if that makes sense. And in the cycle of losing people, you do have to grieve. Grieving is
necessary.
Yeah,
it's necessary.
It's the process.
And if you don't, then it festers and it grows and it's this nasty thing that you carry around with you.
And it affects all other areas of your life.
Yeah, other people, other jobs,
relationships you have.
Yeah, your mental view of yourself even.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I actually wound up going to counseling my freshman year of college for that because I was in Psych 115, Psychology of Relationships. Class is not in Liberty anymore. I'm so bummed because that class will wreck your life, but you'll figure out what's wrong about yourself and you'll fix it. But through that class, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just got some unresolved issues with this. And so I went to a counselor and we got to talk about it. And I remember that because that was the fall semester, coming home from Christmas, my dad had been able to compress for me a file of the video of me and Logan. And it had been like a year or two since I watched it. So I remember I was watching it in my dorm. My roommates hadn't come back yet. It was just me. And for the first time, I think I actually allowed myself to be genuinely angry with God. And I was like, I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. My parents prayed for us for years, and you take him away, and it makes no sense, and it hurts, and he's gone. And I just allowed myself to actually be upset with him. And then after that, I quieted my heart, and I said, all right, what do you have for me? And peace. There was just like this immediate peace that came from actually allowing myself to grieve. And I accepted that the why was probably never going to be there. And I think that's one of the biggest things that our culture pushes for us with, like, there has to be a why.
An explanation.
Exactly. There's not always going to be a why. And accepting that and understanding that I have seen and tasted too much of the goodness of God to doubt him. And to think that he doesn't love me, which means that he does love me. And even though I don't understand why he had to take Logan, it was for a purpose and it was for a reason. And perhaps he was being spared something. Or perhaps that's why I now have my sister and my brother. Like, there's so many domino effects of why
And why you're here now.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah. I think that's another big thing. Like, a lot of times, these trials in our life, they bring us closer to Him.
The Bible is so clear on that. Trials produce perseverance, which produces character, which produces closeness to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and also
we need that.
Yeah, because like also the devil can put that into a different perspective of oh, my life sucks, I hate it, all this stuff, and that just is what tears you down the most. And then that also has you there. It's either going one direction or the other, and of course going like towards God is like such a more humbling and wiser way.
Yeah.
In a sense of like you get a lot of like life lessons and everything. And since that trouble stuff like happened to you, like it can help you help others in different ways, as well as like, because we're all on this earth to serve others. So like if we go through like a painful like thing in our lives, it can always allow us to meet someone and help them grow in some type of way that they might have not had if we didn't go through it before them.
Well, and we can resonate with them. Like, we can, you know,
have empathy, you know?
It's not just sympathy, it's an empathy.
Yeah.
That is, I understand what you feel. And it's not just me saying that. Like,
And those feelings are valid.
Yeah, those
like,
feelings are valid.
Yeah.
And you can help them go through it and persevere instead of going to this other side where it's like, my life sucks. This is terrible. I don't like it at all.
And I think it also gives them hope. You know, they see someone went through the same thing and they got through it. Yeah. So then they themselves think that
there's like, hey, this person got through it. So like,
Well, I think
how can I not?
What it comes down to ultimately is God, and I am not.
Yeah.
Yeah. There might be a why, but we won't know what it is.
We may never know that, or we might get to figure it out on the other side of eternity. But
It's like Job.
Exactly.
He never figured out why he went through those tribulations, but you know,
probably did when he got to heaven.
Yeah, probably.
God, why?
Be like, Jesus.
I have questions.
Be like, hold up a minute. Be like, don't give me a hug yet. Why?
Ask the questions first. And I think that's why a lot of people are like atheists or turn away, is that very question. Yeah. It's like, this bad thing happened. Why would a loving God do that? And so they just turn away.
Well, also there's the fact of, I want to say it was the city of Babylon and everything. There was a point in time where Babylon and everyone in it they were just sinning so much. And also with Pharaoh and everything, that he just turned them towards their own evil.
Yeah.
And
he let them go. He was like,
exactly.
All right, you want to do that? You go. I'm not going to stop
and it's not like God like putting everything on them, it's themselves putting it on them. And I'm not saying that every thing that and I'm not saying like everything that you go through is like your fault or anything. It's just that like there's a point in time where like
you did it to yourself.
Exactly.
And we need to own that. We don't have ownership.
It's kind of like going like lies upon lies to other people, and then like something comes out that is the truth, and then like you're just like, shoot. Well, now I'm in this hole.
There's always consequences to your actions.
Exactly. Definitely. Sometimes they're good consequences, and sometimes they're not. Yeah.
And you learn.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I was gonna say, if you did something wrong and there was no consequence, why? Like,
how do you learn?
Yeah,
exactly.
What would stop you from doing it again?
Yeah, we're all here to grow spiritually and mentally and everything else.
Yeah, we've been put here on this earth so we can know God. One of the things that I come back to all the time, whenever I think of the garden, is that God did not make Adam and Eve these mindless robots. He put the tree of good and evil in there to give them the ability to choose to love him.
Yeah, to do free will.
Yeah.
He's not a dictator.
He's not a dictator. He is a gentleman. He does not force himself upon us. He gives us the guidelines in his Bible, or in the Bible of, have no other gods before me. Honor your father and mother. Do not commit adultery, etc. Not because he's trying to be this big eye in the sky that's shaking his finger at you.
He's trying to protect
He's trying to protect you. In the same way that a parent tells their child, don't put your hand on that hot stove. Yeah. It's because they know it's going to hurt the kid.
It's also trying to better our relationship and friendship with God. Like, because if we're doing all the stuff that he does not want us to do, it's just harder on ourselves.
Well, it's just separating us from him. That's what sin is. It's separation from God.
Yeah, and sin is the devil, too.
They're like, oh, well, bad, but it's literally just without God. Like
Yeah.
awesome.
Which is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad, but it's like people.
And it's sad too.
Yes.
Well, it's also like goes towards like the people who they're just like, well, I do good things, but I mean, I'm an atheist, but I still do good things. But it's just like, well,
it's not
it's-
about
it's
the
not
works,
a-
it's about the grace.
exactly, and it's about like your actual morals of why you do those things. Like, are you working for God or are you working for people? Because you cannot work for both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saw that.
Snaps.
It's like.
Yeah. Oh, Chase is gonna hate you. Sorry, Chase.
Sorry.
Fix it in post.
We could do
Sorry.
Before this last.
We still have light. We do.
Yes. Well, any last closing thoughts?
Dinos. Say
Dinos.
We are the water dinos. Please like and subscribe.
Support us on local.
Subsidiary Forerunners.
If you guys want to hear more of our weird conversations, go to locals.
We'll see if Chad can make.
Forerunners.locals.
Forrunners.com/locals.
Something like
It's
that.
dot and dot, but I can't remember. Forerunnerproductions.locals.com.
Yeah, no, it is
Obviously,
Forerunners.
we know where we're located.
Obviously, you guys know who you're working for.
It's fine. There's probably some link somewhere in this.
We're on Spotify. We're on the
Click
internet.
somewhere.
Yes.
Find some sort of link.
It's up there, maybe in the middle, near George Washington.
Yes.
Yeah, George
Washington is linked.
George Washington. There we go. All right.
That's great.
Well, this has been fun.
It has been.
See ya
The water
next.
dino.
Yes.
Like, thank you
See
guys
you
for
next
watching. It has been fun.
Wait, where can you find everybody? Instagrams?
Oh, yeah, Instagram. Follow us on.
I'm
not
no.
Facebook?
I'm like on Facebook once a month. I don't do social media.
Okay, never mind.
And she's off of it.
But I still have an Instagram. but
Yeah, just Instagram. Well,
at
website, it's fine. Oh, what is
Say
mine?
yours.
What is mine?
Bergan_Behr.
No, I changed
Right?
it.
Oh. Bergan Behr?
No, it's Bergan.
Bergan Elizabeth Behr?
I have my name. Just go to her.words.written. There you go. That's my Instagram.
And mine is Tessa_274.
and mine's at Strength of Atlantis.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alrighty.
And I'm just on
That's-
Facebook. Kenzie Deneualt. DNEAULT. Yes.
And that's a wrap. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
And